So you've seen the headlines, right? Maybe you've even felt that little knot of anxiety in your stomach. Thousands upon thousands of jobs cut across big tech. And the official story, well, it often sounds suspiciously the same, usually blaming a big pivot to AI. In this explainer, we're going to pull back that corporate curtain to see what's really going on. You've heard this a million times. It's the standard corporate message. A company announces a big restructuring, and the justification is always about moving faster, being more accountable, all, driven by AI. It's a clean, shiny, forward-looking story that's designed to sound like pure, inevitable progress.
But, whenever a story sounds that simple, you've got to ask yourself, is it really? Is AI the one and only reason for this massive earthquake in the tech workforce?
Now, back in 2023, the narrative was pretty straightforward. Companies were just correcting for hiring way too many people during the pandemic boom. But what we're seeing now in 2024 and heading into 2025, this is something different. It's pointing to deeper, more structural shifts that are shaking the very foundations of the tech industry. So let's break it down.
First things first, we have to get our heads around a really crucial shift in what AI is actually doing. For years, AI was all about augmentation. Giving people superpowered tools to do their jobs better, faster, stronger. But now, we have fully entered the era of substitution, where AI isn't just helping workers, it's straight up replacing them.
And look, this is not theoretical, far-off stuff. This is happening right now. Take a look at Google. As you can see here, real roles are being eliminated because of specific AI advancements. Cloud UX designers, they're being replaced by automated design systems. Ad sales roles, they're getting a massive overhaul because Gemini is now being plugged directly into their operations. It's a very clear pattern of job substitution.
And maybe the most poetic, or I guess ironic example of this is the story of the AI super raiders. These were incredibly skilled people, a lot of them with PhDs, and their whole job was to train and fine-tune Google's AI models. And they did their job so well that they basically trained the AI to not need them anymore, essentially making their own jobs redundant. It's just a brutally clear example of substitution in action.
But direct job replacement is only part one of this story. The second driver, and you could argue it's even bigger, is all about money. I want you to start thinking of AI as a giant capital sponge.
$320 billion.
That is the projected spend from big tech companies on AI-related stuff. We're talking data centers, chips, power, cooling systems, just for 2025 alone. That is an astronomical amount of money that's being vacuumed up from other parts of the business. And all that capital, it has to come from somewhere.
And this chart right here shows you that trade-off perfectly. Let's use Microsoft as the case study. In 2025, while their capital spending on AI hardware is set to shoot up by nearly 50%, they also announced cuts of over 15,000 jobs. It's really simple when you get down to it. Money that used to go to people's salaries is now being spent on machines.
What we're witnessing here is a fundamental change in the entire business model. Tech is shifting from being this human-centric digital industry to something that looks a lot more like old-school, heavy manufacturing, building out these massive, industrial-scale AI factories.
Okay, so we've got direct job replacement, we've got a massive reallocation of money, but there's a third layer to this whole thing, and frankly, it's a little more cynical. It's a practice that people are starting to call AI washing.
This data reveals a pretty startling gap. A recent survey found that while almost 60% of managers were citing AI as the reason for layoffs in their communications, only 9% said that AI had actually fully replaced the human jobs. That huge gap, well, it suggests AI has become a really convenient excuse, a narrative that just plays better with Wall Street and the public.
So if AI isn't the whole story, then what is? Well, for a lot of these companies, it's about cleaning up the mess from the massive overhiring that happened during what economists call the ZIRP era. That stands for zero interest rate policy. Basically, those years when money was practically free, and the only rule was grow, grow, grow at any cost.
And the scale of that hiring spree was just mind-boggling. I mean, look at these numbers. Block grew its staff by almost 240%. Amazon more than doubled its entire workforce. A huge portion of the layoffs we're seeing now is just unwinding this completely unsustainable growth. And AI? Well, it becomes the perfect forward-looking excuse for a backward-looking mistake.
So you take all these trends, the substitution, the capital shifts, the AI washing, and they all start pointing toward what could be the most alarming long-term consequence of all, a looming crisis for the future of tech talent itself.
I think this phrase just nails it. Think about it. AI is getting incredibly good at automating all the routine, entry-level tasks. The basic coding, the first draft of research, the simple data analysis. But here's the thing, those tasks were the training wheels for junior employees. That's how they learned the ropes and eventually became senior leaders.
And those training wheels are disappearing fast. The data here is genuinely shocking. Entry-level job postings in the U.S. tech sector plummeted by 67% in just a single year. This isn't just a dip, it's a collapse. And it begs a really scary question. If we eliminate the entry points, where's the next generation of senior engineers and product visionaries supposed to come from?
9.5%. That's the unemployment rate right now for recent college graduates in the U.S. It's nearly double the average rate for other adults. We are literally building a structural wall that is keeping new, young talent from ever getting a foot in the door.
So when you put this all together, the job substitution, the capital sponge, the convenient excuses, and this looming talent crisis, you realize the entire tech industry is making a massive trillion-dollar gamble on its own future.
Now, to be fair, this isn't a simple repeat of the dot-com bubble. As this slide shows, the fundamentals are much stronger today. Today's tech giants are incredibly profitable, unlike the flimsy startups of the year 2000. And while valuations are high, they aren't quite as crazy, so the foundation is more solid. But the sheer scale of the investment is like nothing we've ever seen before.
And that brings us to what analysts are calling a critical testing window. The next few years, basically from 2026 to 2030, that's the test. The industry has to prove that these hundreds of billions of dollars being poured into AI factories can actually generate a real, tangible return on investment before the market loses its patience.
Which leaves us all with the ultimate trillion-dollar question. Has big tech bet its future on a true revolution that will create incredible new value for everyone? Or has it poured its fortune into a capital-hungry machine that, in its relentless quest for efficiency, is actively dismantling the very human talent pipeline that built this industry in the first place? Right now, nobody knows the answer.